All right, welcome to the Chabinet meeting. It is the 13th of March, and we have a great deal of news backlog to sort of get through. We're going to try and move as quickly as possible today. With us, thankfully, we have the Gavel rejoining us. I am the Cabinet, and
Hello.
we also have
The chair, the
the
department
chair.
chair.
The chair is prepared with much. So, um, we have a few small cultural things. We noticed that Macron has been complaining of American wokist influence in France. He's talking about the dignity and history of French culture. I think this is amusing since France has done no small amount to sort of undermine Western civilization in general over the last couple hundred years. It is amusing to me that he does not recognize it when it rebounds back onto him. We also have noticed that there's stuff going down in Myanmar, and the LA Times apparently has noticed, and they have a very LA Times take on it. Coming to America 2 just came out. So, Ebony, have you... I used your name.
C money, C money.
C Money. G Money.
C
G Money.
money, D
Gavel
money.
Money, right?
Gavel,
D
gavel.
money. That's what it
Giant,
is. D money.
giant gavel.
So,
Gavel money.
have you seen this film?
I have 4 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Holy smokes.
So,
I am a complete fan from 1988. From the first one, this is a sequel, so I definitely needed to watch the second.
I've generally been a fan of Eddie Murphy. I think he's relatively classy as Hollywood comedians go.
Yeah.
What? Why should I go see this movie?
Well, I think you should go see it because the cast is phenomenal and it is hilarious. And I also think that it's a family-friendly movie. You know, we've been in quarantine. There's a pandemic going on. Go get a laugh.
So that's why the critics hate it, right? They're saying, "Oh, it wasn't that
Yes.
funny. It wasn't that good." The truth is, they just
Right.
don't like how
It's
broadly
too
appealing
much.
it is.
I don't like it. Doesn't
Okay.
make
Well,
sense.
now I want to see it.
Yes.
That's good to know. We have. So the thing with the LA Times here, real quick, is that they are always looking for a martyr in one of these international circumstances, which is they're confused. Okay, they found this 19-year-old girl. She's protesting. She's very
They call
Western
her Angel.
ideals,
Yeah.
and of course she was brutally killed in a completely terrible way by this, perhaps by agents of this
A
autocratic
sniper.
regime. But the truth is that there are a lot of factions in Myanmar, and the biggest players are the Chinese government, right next door, and then like also the traditional people there who don't want to be dominated and controlled by China, but also don't want to be controlled by the West with all its like wokeism, as Macron puts it, which would
Right.
just annihilate their traditional points of view and their ancestor worship and everything else. And then, like, they've also got this Muslim minority, which has been a tremendous difficulty. There have been murders. Some call it a genocide against the Muslim minority. The West is very sort of like favorable to the victim there, but also they want women's rights, which the Muslim minority doesn't want women's rights. So it's
Women
it's not as simple.
have rights
Yeah, not
in
not
Islam?
not according to the Quran. Last time I checked. So it's not as simple as the LA Times would have you believe it, and
Too
nor should the
multi.
United States get itself involved and entangled in a country that has coast, but for all intents and purposes is neighboring landlocked countries. That is never a recipe for United States interventionist success. So, L.A. Times here, no surprise, banging the war drums. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's too
Uh,
multifaceted to paint too quickly.
Right.
but Black Pigeon has a very interesting take on Myanmar.
Yes, he does.
But you were about to get into my fear and terror made manifest in HR1.
Yes, the meeting has commenced.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I definitely was. I know. Also, real quick, in the news, I'm sure everyone knows the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill is law. So money is being thrown at us left and right. The Andrew Cuomo scandal continues, except people in his own party are going after him. Pelosi, Schumer, AOC. I wonder why they're going after him for just the sex scandal, and they seem to always forget about the whole thing with the nursing homes. But unfortunately, let's hope they get him out of there, but I don't think they will. And hopefully they not protect some of those other governors like Wolf and Whitmer too. But yes, if we're talking about your fear specifically, Cabinet, it's this HR1 bill, which is something that seemed to have been kind of thrown out there quietly underneath this $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. And not a lot of people are looking at it just yet. But I think as you're speaking of drums being banged, I think the Democrats are going to be banging this drum since they already passed it in the House and they have now pushed it over to the Senate. So they are calling it, quote, for the people. The For the People Act.
Losing you there. Try again now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, now it works.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, boy. They're calling it the For the People Act of 2021. I'm going to try to see if I can fix that microphone. I don't know why that's doing that again.
For the people, for me?
Well, for all of us, at least that's the game plan. Or again, so they say. So the thing that we want to go over here, the article I found, and very honestly, that I saw, I'm going to admit, was a little bit right-leaning. In the sense that
Heritage Foundation is the organization that put up Trump's judges, right? So they prefer. They would say they prefer judges like Scalia and Clarence Thomas. They put up Gorsuch. They put up Kavanaugh. They put up Amy Coney Barrett. The only one of those that, in my opinion, has sort of followed the Scalia mold is Gorsuch. But that's who the Heritage Foundation is. They're kind of a creaky old conservative organization focused on constitutional issues.
Right. And I was trying to find other articles that I figured could be a little bit more neutral, but the issue is no one is posting all of the things in quick succession of what actually is in this bill that could be damaging in the long run. So
yes.
Almost, what was it, 600 pages?
600 pages, yeah.
So I brought up this article, but we had all agreed just prior to doing this that we're just actually going to look at the actual bill and we'll throw in some of the pieces that the Heritage Foundation finds to be problematic and that we'll find to be problematic from a more neutral perspective. So,
sorry for people's eyes, but I seem to be unable to get Congress to comply with my dark reader, so black on white it is.
Congress complies? Get out of town.
Are you? Hey, you got to screen share that.
I'm not screen sharing. Yeah, let me fix that.
Nope. Yeah, you got to screen share
let me
that.
see if I can fix that without breaking the meeting.
Over 600 pages. Isn't that longer than the It novel?
Oh, it's too big. It's too big. Again, it is too big for you and I to be able to read, which also says something too.
I'm definitely not reading.
That's a good comparison. I wonder who's more prolific, Stephen King or Congress?
That
would be a close contest, I bet.
That's a good question.
So here, screen share that thing so we can dive into it.
Yes, as soon as I find.
Well,
those Zoom windows are stupid.
You gotta clean up that desktop there.
It's just have too much stuff on it. Too many things open at once.
There we go.
So. Yeah, I can see it's the Congress here is fighting you because you can't use your dark side app where we can actually see things. Here now it's just a blue haze.
Okay.
Totally accessible. Go on.
Well, they've got this thing divided into
totally readable sections.
Yeah, I mean,
part 5, part.
These are parts of a new. So there's 4 sections, one of which has 10 parts, the others of which have at least 3 or 4 parts. The short title, hilarious. I love this is an invention of Congress. Short title: This act may be cited as "Free the People Act of 2021," as opposed to the long title.
It's a long title.
HR1-117th Congress 2021-2022.
We got to make sure you know exactly how we feel while we post this bill. It needs a good name.
Right. It's like shorthand, when you.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
All right. So I guess we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, we'll just go over the parts, right? Like one major part at a time, and hopefully we can get through the.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what I think we'll do. And I'll bring up a few things that the Heritage Foundation says. Mind you, we're going to know.
Yeah, you have that open, and I think we should be able to cross-reference, and then we won't have to get into the weeds on too many of these.
Exactly.
So part 1, promoting internet registration. Is anybody in this room a fan of internet registration?
I'm not for it.
No way.
I disagree.
No. There's all kinds of ways that can go wrong or be abused.
Right.
Okay.
Like, I don't even like paying my bills online. Like,
right. Not so from a privacy standpoint, I'm against it. From a security of the election standpoint, I'm against it.
I mean, I can understand if you're pre-registering, but then you have to physically go in person. I can understand that, but the whole process should not be able to complete it online.
No, because then my dog can register. My imaginary friend can register.
Exactly.
Okay. Part 2, automatic voter registration. I'm
sorry, what?
Automatic voter registration. Every person will be registered. Do you want the weeds on how they're doing that?
Yes.
I guess we should look into that.
Okay. The chief state election official for each state shall establish. Okay, that means he's forced to establish and operate a system of automatic registration for the registration of eligible individuals to vote for elections for federal office and state, whatever. Okay. Not later than 15 days after a contributing agency has transmitted information with respect to an individual pursuant to Section 1. Okay, so basically, outside organizations can submit lists of people to be registered.
That's so no.
The Democrat Party can register people.
That it is the job of the citizen.
Not later than 15 days after a contributing agency, whatever that is, I'm sure they define that somewhere,
right,
has transmitted information with respect to an individual pursuant to Section 1013. Ensure that the individual is registered to vote in elections for federal office and in the state if the individual is eligible to be registered. Not later than 120 days. One-time registration of voter based on existing contributing agency records.
Yeah, so apparently
we had this person on our rolls last time, so they're in, right?
Right. The Heritage Foundation was saying that this would allow a multitude of different parts of the government to cross-reference to make sure that this individual, or to make sure that no one fell through the cracks when they were registering individuals, so they're ready to vote.
I just know voting is a civil right, not a natural right. Which means that it's natural rights are things that can't be taken from you.
Right.
Civil rights are things that you earn. And you earn the right to vote by voting in a country in which you are a citizen.
Yeah.
Like you go do that. It's just like you earn the right to drive by, I don't know, getting a driver's license and buying a car and driving it.
Like, I think they had good intentions on this because they do want everyone to vote, to have the opportunity to, as a citizen. However, I just don't think that the automatic
it just opens the door wide to bad actors.
Yeah.
Like you can't pretend that every person who reads this is not going to be looking for loopholes in it.
Right.
Or every party that looks at this is not going to say, okay, well, how can we make sure the people we want registered to vote are registered to vote?
Right. So, and one other thing that they bring up is, all these different agencies, motor vehicles, corrections and welfare, federal agencies such as Social Security.
A person under the age of 18 shall not be refused.
Should not be refused.
Yep.
Wait.
A state may not refuse to treat an individual as an eligible individual for purposes of of this part on the grounds that the individual is less than 18 at the time a contributing agency receives information with respect to the individual, so long as the individual is at least 16 years of age at the time. Nothing in the previous sentence may be construed to require the state to permit an individual who is under 18 at the time of an election to vote, but you're not allowed to prevent them from being registered.
Huh. I'm confused because I mean PG-13. I want to compare it to like a film, right?
Yeah.
So we're saying that 16-year-olds are allowed to be registered as well.
Well, yeah, but so like if a 16-year-old wants to get into an NC-17 movie, they get ID'd, right?
Right, exactly.
But they don't want voter ID. So now I can register a 16-year-old.
Right.
And then when I show up at the voting place, my name is on the books. And now if my birthday hasn't come around and I'm not 18 yet by the time of the election, I'm not allowed. This doesn't allow me to vote. But what would stop them?
Right.
Well, and that's one of the other problems that they're bringing up here. At least again with the Heritage Foundation, they're also saying that there'd be large numbers of ineligible voters. But what does that mean? That could include aliens. It could include multiple or duplicate registrations. It could include people that are slightly underage.
So we agree that the
felons,
automatic voter registration
or something.
Automatic voter registration is dumb.
Bad, just bad.
Like maybe good intentions, but I think it's the path to hell. Because otherwise, like if you care about people in your life who you think might not be able to like have the wherewithal to register, you can talk to them about it. But that's
right. You could promote registration. You could promote all of that, but it is the individual citizen's job to do it themselves.
Now, I don't think you can spend taxpayer dollars to promote registration. That's a whole other thing. We'll get there. But as an individual or as a party, I think you should be allowed. Okay. Same-day voter registration. That's
I'm sorry.
Room for a lot of abuse, right?
That's even worse.
Are you okay there?
No, I'm not okay.
Okay, so what's the heritage? Because I think the Gavel has some arguments in favor of same-day registration.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people are busy. There's some busy people out there. They're like, oh, whoa, I forgot to vote. I
forgot to register. There's an election today. Point me to the place. What do I have to do? Okay, I understand that. Now, what's the downside?
I'm going to quote what the Heritage Foundation says. This would make it easier to commit fraud and promote chaos at the polls through same-day registrations, as election officials would have no time to verify the accuracy of voter registration information and the ineligibility of an individual to vote, and could not anticipate the number of ballots and precinct workers that would be needed at a specific polling location.
God knows it takes them long enough to get the counting done as is.
Wait, are you kidding me?
See that? Now that's what they would say. But I mean, if you want to vote, you should hopefully have the ability to organize something to pre-prep to vote. And maybe I can't see the day of. What about a month before? What about prepping a month before to make that vote? I mean, I have my voter registration card sitting in my wallet at all times, and I pre-prepped and
but even with this election, there were so many people that were saying, I'm not going to go vote. Because of the chaos that was going on until last minute. So I think that is maybe why they added this stipulation in a sense, because to be honest, a lot of people don't want to vote.
Right, but then that's more chaos, right? Like if people show up last minute having done no preparation and suddenly they want to exercise their rights.
Right.
Like I'm not sure that should be rewarded. I mean, like here's the problem is that So now, as we had in 2016, stuff's being counted a week later.
Right.
Like, and that's never been that way in the United States, right? All throughout our growing up, it's been like we were pretty sure by the day after, and if not one day, then like after some courts in Florida sorted something out that one time, but pretty quickly we knew. Even in that case, we knew exactly which every other state had gone, right? And then we were waiting on Florida.
Right.
But this way, yeah, you would be waiting a long time every election because
Got a point. You got a point.
The
uh,
shenaniganry that could occur.
or
That's
or a
possible.
winner gets announced and none of these records are actually checked properly.
Right.
I mean, that happened in what, Arizona?
Okay, so we're split on this, and we have mixed feelings about it as a group.
Hmm.
But
And understandable reasons too on both sides.
Yeah.
okay, but I think taken in aggregate with all the other stuff in this bill, it's uglier, right? If that came with
Hmm.
voter ID laws, I'd be like, okay, same day registration and voter ID, I'm in.
Right. Okay.
Um,
All
but
right.
that's not the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
See where we at.
Conditions on removal on basis of interstate cross checks. So basically, limits on whether or not South Carolina can check whether or not I have a residence in Pennsylvania, right? Is that what that is?
Right. Let me see if I can find what they were saying.
Section.
I'm trying to find it here, but I know what they were specifically saying was that they wanted to make it more difficult for states to have the ability to purge voters from their lists
Requiring
without.
completion of cross check not later than 6 months prior. Okay, so you want to take away any hurdles from people registering and voting at the very last minute, but you want to impose hurdles for the states verifying uh, their voter rolls.
Okay, so that right there doesn't make any
The
sense.
combination is slimy. Again, it's not
Right.
like any one of these things. Like, okay, maybe. It's like, wait a minute.
And
Right.
then we go on and read on, and we're like, wait, hold up, hold the phone. This doesn't sound right.
Okay, so we're up to part five. We're making progress here.
Hmm.
Um, part five: other initiatives to promote voter registration. Okay, so then they've got this what I would call a scattergun approach to any loopholes they think they may have missed. So, not less than 90 days after the end of each year, each state shall submit its annual Election Assistance Commission report, um, uh, annual report to the Election Assistance Commission and to Congress, containing the following: the number who were registered, the number of voter registration application forms completed, the number of individuals whose voter registration were accepted, the number of address changes, the number of individual statewide computerized. Okay, like this is arguably some accountability, but it goes to the least accountable people in our country, Congress. It didn't say publish for public consumption. It said submit to Congress. Um, I don't know. Trying to read through this. Breakdown of
Yeah.
information. I don't like the vast data collection happening here.
There's so much going on with
Okay,
that.
so I'll
There's
chalk this up
so
as bureaucratic stuff that I probably don't care too much about, but I feel like there's something slimy in it because I
Right.
feel like there's something slimy in everything Congress does. So that's my bias talking. Um, part six: availability of HAVA requirements, payments. What?
Wait.
What payments? What's going on here?
Yeah,
Here, give me a
why is
second.
there money changing hands?
Right.
If I remember correctly,
Cover costs of
A
compliance with
state may
new.
use a requirements payment to carry out any of the requirements of the Voter Registration Modernization Act of 2021, including requirements of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, which are imposed pursuant. Basically, if there's some like part of filling out the form that costs something somehow, the state will pay for it. I think that's what this is.
Yes.
That sounds like the Democrats. They don't want people to end up paying for anything.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Come out
I
their
mean,
pocket.
it shouldn't cost anything to register to vote to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you
Right.
could argue. You could argue
What it
that's a
costs $20
tax
for a
otherwise.
driver's license? Okay,
Uh,
whatever. Like if they want to pay for people's driver's licenses, I really don't care. It's coming out of my tax money anyway.
What?
Okay.
It costs more than that in New York to get a 5 hour. What is that? The
Yeah.
five
Well,
hour certificate is
well,
like
well.
$50 or more.
New York
Gee.
dips with two hands, right? So there's the
Ridiculous.
federal sort of requirements, and then there's the New York State requirements, and then there's the New York City requirements, right?
Yeah.
So, but what this is, this is the racket where it's like, oh, blue states pay more in than they take out. Well, it's like New York might be imposing a $50 tariff on getting a driver's license photo that goes to fund their coffers, but then they turn around and they want the federal government to pay for that, right? Oh, these people can't afford this tariff we've imposed.
That's the
Why
game. The constant.
That's
that
the game.
we imposed.
Yeah, you're right, right.
Pay for me making other people get stuff.
Right.
Yes. But pay for me making other people get stuff, and then like pay for me taxing it.
Yes, double the money.
Right.
There we go.
That's the sort of double dip that you could expect from a De Blasio. Okay.
De Blasio.
Prohibiting interfering with voter registration. This is the part where it's like, okay, but what do they describe as interfering, right? And it's like anything under color of law. So basically, they're casting aspersion on people's motives, right? It's like, well, you only used that law to stop that person from registering because you hate people and you don't want them to register. But all the language here is entirely meaningless because all of this would already be illegal if you could prove it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and this is the Heritage Foundation says that HR1 would add a provision criminalizing hindering, interfering, or preventing anyone from registering or voting, which is so vague and so broad that
Right.
it could providing any information
Has to be
election
meaningless.
officials about the ineligibility of an individual, such as the applicant not being a U.S. citizen.
Right. So they would try to prosecute people under that. I don't think it would hold up, but again, well, it will, because when we get to the end of this bill, the crazy part.
It's a speed bump, nonetheless.
Well, what's fun is like because of the way they worded the end of this bill, if you recall.
Oh yeah.
Then they can prosecute the vaguest of things apparently, and
you're not allowed to even question.
Yeah, you're not allowed to challenge this bill. We'll get to that part. Part 8, Voter Registration Efficiency Act.
Now, what's this about?
Okay, this is requiring applicants for motor vehicle driver's licenses in new state to indicate whether state serves as residence for voter registration purposes. Any change by adding the following paragraph?
Shall require each individual applying for a motor vehicle driver license in the state to indicate whether an individual resides in another state or resided in another state prior to applying for the license, and if so, to identify the state involved and to indicate whether the individual intends for the state to serve as the individual's residence.
Okay, so basically I have to give them more information when I get my driver's license, which maybe I hadn't decided that by then. This is more red tape, not less. Did they call this efficiency? They called this the Efficiency Act, right?
Yeah,
it's efficiency.
They want to be efficient.
Oh no, we're running out of time. We will have 10 minutes. Okay, so
go.
Let's keep going.
we're going to use a different service next time.
Yes.
That's hilarious. More red tape. All right, providing voter registration information to secondary school students. So all high school students get automatic voter registration. Who pays for that? Who pays for the the people to come in and do that, or the forms to be provided, or whatever? I'm sure that's the taxpayer.
Right.
Priority for schools receiving Title I funds. Oh, the schools we like. The schools who are playing ball, the schools who are teaching the social justice curriculum we like, they get priority.
I mean, I already get plenty of information to help students, to teach them where to go and how to register.
What I'm saying is like this won't be. This will be This will be schools. Yeah.
Right. It's
going to be targeted
priority for
towards
schools.
the desired voters. Right.
Targeted.
This isn't going to be Catholic schools in suburban areas getting automatic voter registration, because that would probably be a net negative for the powers that be.
Right.
Consultation with election officials. And it's not going to be charter schools, even in the inner cities, right? Because those kids, regardless of their race, color, creed, they're going to be more conservative than the kids in the public schools. Okay.
Right. Definitely.
consultation with election officials, definitions, blah, blah, blah. Reports.
Keep rolling because there's
Yep.
so much.
Voter registration of minors.
Yep.
The state may not refuse. Basically, this is we did this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many
problems.
Yeah, we did that one already.
Subtitle B: access to voting for individuals with disabilities.
Disabilities. Okay, I'm for them.
Okay, I'm for them, but I'm not for like the federal government doing that.
Yeah.
Hardship exemptions, approval of waiver requests, timing of waivers, basically all kinds of. If you can claim you've got some kind of disability, none of the rules apply to you, and you can register when and where you like. Expansion and reauthorization of grant program to assure voting access for individuals with disabilities. Pilot programs for enabling individuals with disabilities. GAO analysis and report on voting access for individuals with disabilities. Subtitle C: prohibiting voter caging. What?
Voter caging? What is that?
What the hell is that?
Let's see what it is.
A non-forwardable document that is returned to the sender or third party as undelivered or undeliverable despite an attempt to deliver. Oh. Okay, so you can't.
Okay.
You can't deny a vote because it was postmarked incorrectly.
Correct. Voter caging typically refers to the practice of sending mail to addresses on voter rolls, compiling a list of the mail that is returned undeliverable, and using that list to purge or challenge voters' registrations and votes on the grounds that the voters on the roll do not.
Wait. You're saying that if you register with an address that I can't mail something to,
or that it comes back.
Yeah, it bounces.
Yep.
The address is still good.
Yep.
I can register a voter from a parking lot. I can register a voter from a
promoting incompetency.
That's horrific. Now I know how the organized crime will vote. We are, I think, nearly out of time here. But anyway, we can see that there's no way we're against this bill. We might be fans of parts of it. We've gotten through lots. At the very end, it says the courts, except for the Circuit Court of D.C., have no authority to say anything about this, which is just a hilarious overreach and unconstitutional and like a violation of the balance of powers in the United States.
It's the legislative branch literally insulating itself from the judiciary branch.
Yeah. So.
What
are we hoping for? Does Joe Manchin have to stop this? How can this be stopped?
Filibuster. But that's the problem.
Okay, but the Democrats have the power to nuke the filibuster if they want.
Yeah, but
they're looking to do that.
But that is going to be dangerous. That's really dangerous.
All right. I guess we're counting on that. And then in that event, we're counting on Joe Manchin?
Someone, please, someone.
Supreme Court. Well, this will be interesting. I think the Supreme Court will have things to say about this, regardless of what is written in it about the fact. It's like, I have immunity. It's like when you're playing tag or whatever as a kid, you're like, nuh-uh. I touched my nose first. I think the Supreme Court will weigh in.
It doesn't count.
Well, I mean, based on Madison versus Marbury, they can and will weigh in. So
they're not going to let that go. Or at least I hope.
No. Well, if they're going to say the president, the Supreme Court gets the final word in disagreement with the president, I assume that they will also say that in the case with Congress. Yeah. Here is our Insuredian, and then I think our meeting will cut out. So we'll just record that, and then we'll have the gavel end the meeting.
Damn you, Zoom.
Insuredian.
Okay. Where are we at?
That's the question. I think we just did this one. We just did let not such considerations distress thee. I believe we're up to number 25? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Something's not right.
It's not right. Maybe we need to highlight the ones we did.
Okay, we did the banquet, I think. Number 15.
Was it Neglect My Affairs?
If you would improve. If you wish your children and wife and friends to live forever, you're foolish. Oh, if you would improve. You're right. That's where we were.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, if I neglect my affairs. So we are at number 13. We should record
Okay.
these.
Yeah.
Number 13. If you would improve, be content with the thought to be thought foolish and dull, without regard to externals. Do you desire to be thought to know anything? And though you should appear to others to be somebody, distrust yourself. For be assured, it is not easy at once to keep your will in harmony with nature and to secure external things. But while you are absorbed in the one, you must of necessity neglect the other. All right.
Hard to be in two worlds.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to
That's
be
the
in two
difficult
worlds.
part.
Yeah. So you can either do what's right and be thought inferior or thought dumb or foolish, or you can be concerned always with what other people think.
No,
Yeah.
I'll
Better
be
to do what's
foolish.
Yeah, you gotta do that. Cannot let those people go against you and harm the way that you want to live your life and do the things you want to do.
Okay. At least I've been provided timer. This actually might keep me on track. So we've got 2 minutes left. Does anybody have a final word before I let the gavel end the meeting?
I would say, damn you, Zoom. There was so much more to get into. So much more. So much more I want to get into.
Damn.
Even Zoom knows. Zoom knows what we're doing.
We'll swap over to Discord, I should think.
I think we're going to have to, but
Yep.
will we still have our beautiful, beautiful pictures?
Yeah,
I'll have the
we can
picture.
do that.
Oh,
We can
yeah,
do
they
that in a
do.
better way. Yeah.
Wait, you're right. You would have the pictures still. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would.
I could just put them up.
Yeah,
So
there is a way.
we'll go to that.
There's a will, there's a way.
In fact,
Yeah,
if
that's
I
right.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess I'd say we'll have to see what we'll get into next week. There's a lot of other stuff, I'm sure. Do you think they plan on starting next week with the Senate with HR1?
Who knows what the Senate's priorities are? That's up to Schumer, I guess.
Avoidance.
There's still a minimum wage thing, I think, and I don't know.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
have
but
to see.
they've still got their. Did they? They didn't get the minimum wage thing through within
They didn't
1.9
get it
trillion,
in.
right?
Yeah, they didn't get it.
No, they did not get
They
it
got
in
their
at all.
unemployment, but some, but not
Right.
all that they wanted. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So
Well, we'll see.
Well, I guess this is a time to adjourn, and we'll see everyone next week.
And meeting adjourned.